Alright, improv time, I guess. Let's start with a tree. Uh, Two trees, in fact. Growing on the side of a mountain. Let's say they're apple trees in roughly the northwest of America. West by northwest, in fact. But these two apple trees are special. Not because their location or because they're surprisingly tasty or anything like that. No. They're special because every year without fail, the small community that lives at the plateau that they're near the community will gather around and pluck each apple off these two trees and use it to spread the seeds around. That's what makes these two trees so special, is that despite the community trying for the last 6 or 7 years, these are the only two trees that are constant and fruit producing. Several of the trees that have sprung from these apple seeds should be old enough to produce fruit at this point. And yet, when a botanist looked at some of them, they didn't even turn out to be apple trees. Now then, these trees aren't magical or anything. No. The townsfolk even know this. They're fully aware. But these trees are grafted. But that shouldn't stop the apples from growing, is the problem. With the community's having, at least. The trees don't care that much. They're grafted on there several years back onto some rootstock that was there, so they could grow a little hardier. And that was, to some degree or another, the reason why this community exists. As a little botany experiment that some university or another put together to try to make hardier cold weather apple trees. Now, the weather's not too cold for apples, but the winters can be especially bad considering they're up on a mountain, at least 3/4 the way to the top. Not that it's a tall mountain, mind you, but still. But this little community exists solely funded by a university. Well, not solely funded by. The researchers who live there, the botanists, are finding out why these apple trees seem to produce oak, which is what they were grafted onto, but they should still produce apple trees of some kind from their seeds. and yet don't. But the researchers needed things, stores, and food, and everything else. So the university hired contractors to move stuff up there, which brought salesmen trying to hawk stuff to the contractors and the botanists and the researchers, which brought marketers, which brought stores, which brought development. No government quite yet. Not quite enough people. Especially since the university is still technically in charge. But the university is spending quite a bit of money to figure out why these two apple trees that, for should all intents and purposes produce more, seem to be creating oak trees. Whatever. There's your improv. I'm exhausted. Thank you for listening, if anyone's even been listening.